the best time to do research is when you have no product.
This was a real gem from Chidinma Kalu, and I hope you're going to enjoy this first episode of the second season of Design-ERS. We're going through fashion, psychology, and design with a good bunch of virtual reality. Now enjoy another snippet and see you later.
When I first lost my job, when I didn't know how to do design, I had no experience, and I was struggling to learn how to do prototyping, and I felt so behind. I felt so out of my comfort zone, and I was struggling to learn things like Figma. That kind of pushed me because at that time I knew what I needed to know, but I just felt like I couldn't keep up with the pace of what was determined, what was required of me. So
This is Design-ERS, an irreverent podcast for unconventional makers.
Hello, then here we are. Everything seems to work. Hello, Rafa, and our guest. Our guest, it's not only fantastic today, but it's the guest with the most difficult name to be pronounced ever in the history of guests. So without even starting the intro, we let our guest teach you guys how to pronounce her name properly, because I butchered it so many times that I don't know how many times I have to say I'm sorry.
hello, design-ERS folks. My name is Chidinma, Kalu. I usually go by Chi, so everyone calls me Chi. Fun fact, it's also Chioma, but in Italian, people call it Chioma, which means beautiful hair, but actually means God, beautiful God, or God is good, like good God.
Love it. And we love to kick it off like this new season of Design-ERS with you. And we're very excited. Rafa, your earphones are really fancy. We love great choice, great product. We wanted to spend some time with you talking about your background, and we read this amazing article that Kendor wrote, like this profile about you, and we love the intersection of design with fashion and psychology. It's utterly fascinating to me. Tell us more about how could you put together those three things, and tell us a little bit about your story, because it's super awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. So I grew up in Nigeria, and I started out as a model. So I wanted to be just a model and a dancer, like a theater person. And at that time, I didn't really know much about tech. I wasn't tech savvy. I barely have a computer, no computer. So I had I was really interested in sci-fi, and I had ideas of what I wanted based on the Apple Watch. I had even come up with prototypes, but I didn't really know how to move forward. So at the time, I only knew about music and dancing and fashion because I got exposed into the fashion industry in Nigeria through Rise Fashion Week, and I also kind of learned that I had some family members who were there too, but that had nothing to do with me actually. When I started in the US, I was doing my fashion work, and then I was going to school at Evergreen Valley College, trying to study psychology so I could go to law school. And while I was doing that, I was attending fashion shows every weekend. I was practicing my runway walk. I was collaborating with a lot of local designers in the Bay Area, so Oakland, San Francisco, and a lot of international upcoming designers working. And then that led me to kind of see what the problems and opportunities were in the fashion space. So that I was needing to advertise or needing an e-commerce platform where all designers could come and show themselves. And I kept pitching that, but I didn't know how to do it. And I had even more ideas. And I joined this program called Year Up, which is a non-profit organization that helps underrepresented youth get into IT. And that's where I actually learned how to build a computer. I learned the foundations of IT. And I remember before that, my goal was working, at the Apple store, like AT&T, fixing people's phones. But at this time, I had a better chance. I got chosen to be an intern at Facebook, but it was a nonprofit internship. And that's how I became a telecom expense management intern. And that started my journey. From there, I ended up beta testing a lot of products from TV to mobile phones. And then I learned about the user experiences by accident because I was testing devices for Facebook employees. And testing those devices and collecting feedback with leads all over the world led me to have to document them and, kind of make that, evangelism of, do you like the product? What don't you like about it? Let me transfer this feedback back to the people who are making the products, which is, like your AT&T, iPhone. And then I realized I really want to do that, but I didn't know what it meant. So after lots of Googling, finally got to talk to user researchers at Facebook, that finally I saw something about human factors and psychology and technology. And that kind of sparked a huge interest in me. And at that moment, I felt like I'd have to go back to school. So I enrolled back once I finished my year up internship and my program while working. I enrolled back, finished my community college degree, got my associate degree, and transferred to San Jose State University. And I came back, was still working as a contractor at Facebook under the search team. I worked on Search Messenger Live. And then still modeling. At that time, I got my first contract as a commercial model with this talent called Nilo. So that's when I started working, doing stuff for actual, like real, brands that actually pay you a little bit more money. And that led me to continue to, strive to find what I wanted to do, which was UX, and I became a designer once I graduated in 2018 at Western Digital. And the story goes on from there. Now I'm a PhD candidate in Iowa State studying human-computer interaction, having helped my mom with the passion start her brand called Cara Labels. So I helped build the website. I also came up with a solution for avatar customization for a different startup, which I ended up never using. I just had the prototype. I have it's in research phase, ready to develop. And then I started to find people who were also interested in that space. So that's something that I'm still kind of working on. So it's just mostly I've validated the problem. I've, created my prototype. I've done a lot of research, 2 years worth of research, both user experience, qualitative research, as well as doing open-ended interviews, usability testing. And and this kind of leads me to just more amazing, exciting work that I'm able to continue to do both in my PhD program and, back as an intern at Facebook too.
In the meantime that you were speaking about your past, I was so curious to asking you more about, okay, got it, but what's going on right now? Because I know that you're at Oculus. Can you share more about this? It has been super fascinating. Don't get me wrong. I love to hear from where you come from and where you are right now. But without spoiling a bit on the amazing creative background of Fede, that for this chance, we need to know that we are on the same time zone, first time ever. Please, could you tell us more about Oculus? Of course, the stuff you can, and how your past has blended into the present.
Yeah, so sadly, I can't share too much information, but I do work on the AR, the Facebook Reality Labs, working on, our different virtual reality, AR products. I'm in research, so still at the early level, testing and validating different features that we want to put out there in the world soon. Look out for some amazing products coming soon. Having to do with, virtual reality, augmented world, things like that. We're in the future, we're, doing a lot of things that are going to disrupt gaming, all of the sort. I think you could kind of watch a Mark talk on, that he's posted live on Facebook, and you can kind of see the, the cool stuff, being worked on.
When you're talking about disruptive tech, looks like to me, is this the present? Is this the future? Because I know, guys, you're from the Silicon Valley and from California. Okay, got it. But at least here from Europe or in Amsterdam, I'm not getting to use a lot of AR experiences. So it's more about, is that the future really, or it's the new trend?
It's a spark. We have a lot of filters on the, Instagram, Snapchat. A lot of people are doing really great work.
I have a question that is not about the product, of course. I was just playing with my Oculus that I personally love. How different is to conduct user research for something sort of tangible, app or anything that you've been doing in your past, and now the work you've been doing on Oculus? Is there any main difference between being a researcher for the digital side and now being a researcher into the virtual reality that is completely different?
Actually, it's pretty similar with what I've been doing before. It's similar in the sense that most times for all of the projects I've been working on, it has been products that haven't like been launched yet. So everything is kind of like tentative. So it does bring a lot of ambiguity and a lot of speculation. So you have to do a lot of research, a lot of reading, competitive analysis. So it's challenging, but it's not too different. It's just now you have to speculate what users' needs are. So yeah, not too different. You know, the only difference is like usually you have like a tangible product to test something, but the best time to do research is when you have no product.
I have a question to sum it up this quick and short interview that is about failures, because you talked a bit about that it's the same thing, and I would be super happy to hear more from you about what has been your biggest failure so far in this space.
Wow.
First that came into your mind, because the failures are always part of the process.
Yeah. The first thing I'm thinking about is when I first like lost my job, when I didn't know how to do design, I had no experience, and I was struggling to learn how to do prototyping, and I felt so behind. I felt so, you know, like out of the box, out of, you know, my comfort zone, and I was struggling to learn things like Figma. That kind of pushed me, because at that time I knew what I needed to know, but I just felt like I couldn't keep up with the pace of what was determined, what was required of me. So I went all the way to Europe, went to like conferences for like design, so something called Design Matters, and I volunteered there so I could learn. I was taking courses on Udacity and Coursera, and I eventually ended up getting this scholarship at Adobe. After that experience, you know, I not only failed, but I had like my, you know, stuff stolen, my computer stolen, all the work that I had done taken away from me. I ended up doing a lot of unpaid work. So it was a multiple bouts of like, you know, blows, and then the pandemic happened. So it was just like, you know, constant pushing and a lot of self-doubt, but that pushed me to seek for other opportunities and take a step back and rebuild myself. So what I learned is that you can always rebuild yourself by finding where you have any sort of gaps that you want to learn. And I knew I wanted to be a researcher from day one, but that experience kind of made it like super clear, because I did all the work. I did practice all the design elements. I was just curious. I wanted to learn everything and anything about design. I've done some animation. I've tried to learn some color theory without being an art student, of course, without having any experience with Photoshop. So that really pushed me to get as much knowledge as I could, you know, for free, for pay, in whatever way, you know. Yeah, so I would say like a failure is like a catapult. Yeah.
Nice, I love it. That. It's really smart. I mean, I love. I mean, I wanted to wrap up this new format in which we give you like a flash into like this new the guest that we introduced. What I think we would like to try now is like to send out this in the social universe. And guys, I think we would love to again have a follow up with you. And everyone that wants to ask a question to Chi about everything that she mentioned on the different and holistic approach to design, or the different way to transform different what seems to be a failure into success, and something about like a virtual reality question that you guys might have. So I want to thank you again, and see if we can build this in a more interactive follow-up live format too. Thank you again for being with us.
Yeah, and look out for I'm doing a study on virtual reality translational research. So yeah, look for that. It's coming next week on the Human Computer Interaction International Conference. So I'm hoping that I can, you know, share more of some of the work that I've done, like on virtual reality, and trying to figure out how to transfer research into design.
Great. I think that was it for today. Guys, I'll see you next time, right?
Yes.
In the next episode of Designer.